Anthony Adebayo. We off the record.
With you there, but if you're a coach, do you take that chance?
Yes.
You can reach us at the Off the Record Show at gmail.com. Anthony Adebayo and the most accurate sports coverage. Scotty B's Fantasy 5.
We're different from any other sport.
His sophomore year. Comes back and says, you know what?
And your boy, Scotty B. We off the record.
It's good. It was good.
You know what's crazy is that I heard like some crazy feedback. Wow. I don't know what was going on. But this is Off the Record. I'm Anthony Adebayo.
It's your boy Scotty B. I'll tell you what was going on. I took myself off of mute. I took myself off of mute, and I figured out why you have to keep yourself on mute during the intro.
Why is that?
Well, so you don't hear the feedback. So if you take yourself off of mute, you're going to hear the feedback because you're hearing my computer. It was the first time I tried. I say, you know what? I wonder if I can come off of mute. And guess what? I couldn't hear the feedback, but the minute you said you heard the feedback, I said, you know what? That's it.
Scott, we're gonna get you. We're gonna get you.
Yeah. I'm all discombobulated, man.
It's all good, man. But it's a lot going on. Well, kind of a lot. NFL training camps are getting, ramped up. WNBA just had their All-Star weekend, which I thought was amazing. And there's some heavily debated topics going on right now between some former athletes and TV personalities that I think we have to talk about. But I guess we can start at the training camps. It's starting now. There's some notable guys that are missing. You got Terry McLaurin. He hasn't been there. Micah Parsons has been there, but he's not practicing. If I'm not mistaken, Trey Hendrickson is not there. Yeah, Trey Hendrickson not even in the state. He's on a beach somewhere. So you got those things going on, and then you got guys in new places. Aaron Rodgers, Justin Fields,
Russell Wilson.
What's old boy that's in Vegas? That was just in Geno Smith. So you got, so among other people, that are in new places, and of course you got the rookies where people are like, clamoring to see Shador and Cam Ward and Travis Hunter, among other guys. So that's your the NFL training camp, and it's getting ready to get ramped up.
Yeah, so you touched on something I wanted to talk about. You talk about Micah Parsons, Hendricks, I think his first name just Trey Hendricks, and Terry McLaurin.
Mm-hmm.
Out of those three, who do you think a deal has to get done immediately?
Well, I would say that Micah Parsons should get done. That should be the easiest one to get done out of the three. Then you have Trey Hendrickson, his should be easy as well. And then Terry McLaurin may be a little difficult, but two out of those three are homegrown. They were drafted there, so that it should be easy. I can understand Trey Hendrickson, but somebody like that, that like they should be one of the sack leaders for the next 2 to 3 years. You know, so I think Micah Parsons, huh?
See, I go Terry McLaurin.
Why is that?
I think Micah Parsons, to your point, that deal's going to get done, right?
Mm-hmm.
Jerry Jones, he's got a history of stalling out his guys in negotiations. He ends up paying them. It'll get done right before the season. They'll take care of him. Micah's his guy, even though I know Micah's a little frustrated about it. But at the end of the day, that deal is going to get done. You look at the Commanders, right? NFC Championship. They have the momentum with they have a really good team, really young quarterback. Sophomore year or sophomore season, you do not your quarterback going into that season without their number one weapon.
I agree.
I think the longer that they take to get this deal done, and the longer that he's not in camp, you are putting him at risk of possibly getting an injury. And, because let's be frank, holdouts, and there might be some scenarios. I mean, people can remind me, people can post in the chat. A lot of holdouts end up getting hurt. And
most of them get hurt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's just, it comes down to football. Like, you can work out at home and you can work out with personal trainers, and you probably can speak way better about this as being a coach. There's nothing like being with your guys in training camp, taking those reps with the team and working your body into shape, or especially at the highest level. So, yeah, I think they got to figure out how to get this guy in camp, get him there to where he can continue to gel with his quarterback. Commanders have to get that deal done.
Now, so I agree that it has to get done, but selfishly, I hope he holds out until week 8 or so, where he has to play just the 9 games, and he doesn't play against Dallas, which I don't care if he plays against. I'm not gonna lie, Terry McLaurin doesn't really hurt the Cowboys, but as for the development of Jaden Daniels, you want him in camp. So the new ownership group of the Commanders have been doing a masterful job, and I all biases out the window, and everybody knows who I root for, but they've been doing a masterful job from last year, and with everything just seems to be like falling into place. So the fact that they don't have a deal for him, and I personally think that it shouldn't even be that difficult to get that deal done. I don't know if he's necessarily asking for top dollar, but I don't think it should be an issue to get somebody that's been as productive as Terry McLaurin since he's been in the league, mainly for a team that before this ownership group got there was damn near the only bright spot for that team. So I think, I'm not gonna say they owe it to him to pay him, but they do. I mean, he should be paid. He should be paid.
Oh no, I agree, definitely. All right, so I saw 2 things today, right? I saw Trevor Lawrence appears to be back from his injuries. He's got a new coach, new look Jags. You got Travis Hunter. Then you got Justin Herbert, right? And I've been reading reports that my guy Jim Harbaugh is in love with Justin Herbert.
That's why he took the job.
Yeah. Out of those two, who needs to have the bigger season?
Oh, Trevor Lawrence, easy. I mean, yeah, I know how. I understand what I say about uh, uh, Justin Herbert, but he's been to the playoffs twice. He's still been productive. Trevor Lawrence, uh, he's on the verge of being a bust. So, I mean, I think that it's definitely a show me year for Trevor Lawrence. He got paid, um, and you know, they added Travis Hunter. They needed that. They added some other pieces as well, but I think that what's his name? Trevor Lawrence has to. He can't have a season that he's had like the last couple of years. Like he is definitely. I mean, Justin Herbert, if I'm not mistaken, I think he only threw 3 interceptions last year. Um, you know, I've heard a lot of teams. I mean, a lot of people say they see just. I mean, the Chargers winning the AFC West, and I'm like, I wouldn't.
Yeah,
I wouldn't
I'm
go
not
that
going to
far,
go that far, but
but I can see it. I can see it. I can see it. I mean, they got the Chargers. Aren't like that division is going to be crazy, but the Chargers got everything. They got everything they need. They got running game. They got the quarterback. They drafted and they got some receivers now. Uh, the defense is solid. So, I mean,
we'll see. Like I said, I agree with your assessment. I do think is Trevor Lawrence needs a good year. I'm going to say this: he probably needs to throw for, we'll say, 3,800 yards. They probably need to be a 10 win team.
who is that?
This is the Jacks.
Okay.
I think if he throws for 3,800 yards, wins 10 games, say he got to throw 25 touchdowns for him not to be considered a bust.
I mean, those are not eye-popping numbers, Scott.
No, I think they're realistic and they're attainable. I didn't say 5,000 yards, and I almost said 4,000 yards, but he's got to start somewhere, right?
No, I think he needs to. I mean, the yards to me, I don't care about the yards, right? I think because, I mean, you just fussed at me last year when I brought up Matt Ryan being the best player in Falcons history, and I'm like, well, he's the all-time leader in touchdowns and yards and X, Y, and Z. Took them to the Super Bowl, and that wasn't enough to consider him the best player in their history. So I don't necessarily think that he's gonna he needs to have a certain amount of yards. I just think he needs to look competent. I think he needs to get the wins, or they need to get the wins. I think that the stats are the stats. I don't know if I'm not gonna say stats are everything, and stats do play a part, but we know that there's quarterbacks out there that could just pad their stats. You know,
Yeah,
if you down every damn game, I mean, it's gonna be easy for you to get 4,000 yards. You know, but
Okay.
Jalen Hurts just won a Super Bowl and he only threw for 2,900.
Okay, but let's say this, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, do you think he has to get to the playoffs?
Yes, he has a winnable division. Uh, I don't know if they came. I don't think they came in last in the. I can't remember who came in last in the division. He has to stay healthy. I think if he stays healthy, the Jags can make a playoff run. If he stays healthy, though, he has to be healthy enough for the Jags to make some sort of run. If he's hurt, then I mean he's not helping them, and they're gonna stink again, or put Travis Hunter at quarterback.
Yeah,
So
it's crazy.
I mean, I don't really necessarily think that he has to have a set amount of yards to be considered successful. Because look, Jameis Winston threw for 5,000. He threw like 32 touchdowns, 30 interceptions, and they shipped him off to wherever they cut him or trade him. Whatever they did, they brought in Tom Brady.
New Orleans, went to Saints.
Yeah, so I mean, and he had and his stats were amazing. Well, not the interception part, but the rest was what it was. You know, so
you said we got some debates to get into.
Well, I mean, it's not. I don't know if it's necessarily going to be our debate. It's a debate that I've been seeing, and this Cam Newton. He said Jalen Hurts is not a top 10 quarterback. He gave his reasonings, and well, the first thing I want to say is whether I agree or disagree. A lot of people were going personal with him instead of debating what he said. Right, debating and talking sports, they made it personal. Like even Ryan Clark, I'm a fan of Ryan Clark, but he said, you know, Cam Newton did this and he went to the Super Bowl but forgot his cape and all sorts of stuff. You know, saying he went to 3 Pro Bowls. Jalen Hurts already been to 2, and I don't think to me, what does that have to do with Jalen Hurts being a top 10 quarterback in the league? Nothing.
I think he's definitely the most disrespected.
Who? No, he's not. No, he's not. No,
right
he's not.
Now, right now he is.
No, he's not. How?
Considering he's been to 2 Super Bowls, won 1, Super Bowl MVP. He might have been last year. He was in MVP consideration.
That was 3 years ago.
Well, 3 years ago. Yeah, I mean, did not say somebody like that is in the top 10. You can't discredit that. I mean, we just talked about it, right? Like stats and everything, and you just kind of made that clear that it's more about the wins and how you look.
I don't think it's all about the wins too, because I think that it depends. I think everything plays a part, right? You know, because wins to me are like a team thing. Like Joe Burrow is constantly in the top 5, top 3 or 4. I'm sorry, top 4. He made the playoffs in 2 years. You know what I'm saying? So Jalen Hurts, I think that, you know, a lot of people haven't put him in the top 5. And I'm not opposed to that, right? Now, you know, some people may say this is an excuse that he has the best team in the league, as far as he's the quarterback for the best team in the league. Yeah, let me ask you this question. And I guess the deepest team in the league. But let me ask you this question. If you take Jalen Hurts off that team and put, let's say, I won't go too crazy. Let's just say you put a Trevor Lawrence or a Brock Purdy. Does that team still go to the Super Bowl?
Maybe not. And so I'll play devil's advocate right there, right?
Oh, God.
No, so that's like saying that Emmitt Smith wouldn't have been a good running back if he didn't play for the Cowboys. You know, people use the argument, oh, yeah, he had one of the best offensive lines, and he had the playmaker. He had Troy Aikman and Brent Novacek and the Moose. And
first of all, it was Jay Novacek.
Jay Novacek. I'm thinking of my guy, Brent Jones.
Yeah, Brent Jones. Yeah,
I'm sorry. I'm thinking of Brent Jones, but Jay Novacek. And I've heard people say that argument.
Mm-hmm.
You can't blame him for what's around him. But you can measure him based off of his success, right? You know what I mean? So I we look at Justin Herbert, right? And that's your guy. And
Justin Herbert's my guy.
yeah, that's your guy, right?
You know,
And
damn well.
a lot of people had Justin Herbert over Jalen Hurts. And I think like you can't just throw out what Jalen Hurts has been able to accomplish over a small sample time over a quarterback that he passes the eye test, but really hasn't put together the same football resume.
Yeah, just for the record, you know damn well Justin Herbert is not my
I know.
guy.
I was joking.
I know. I just want to be clear before people believe that. You know, I think Burrow's better. So I'll say this to answer my earlier question. I think if you put a Brock Purdy on that team is still a Super Bowl contender. Will they win? Maybe, maybe not. Don't know. But nonetheless, I think that he is a product of his environment. And I'll say this: what I'll give Jalen Hurts credit, I think he's a tremendous leader. I think he makes the plays when you need him to, right? So, this past season, you know, they had a lot of leads where he didn't play, they didn't play some of the fourth quarters, right? Because they had such big leads. So he didn't finish the games. With that being said, I just personally, I can't see putting a quarterback that only threw for 2,900 yards in the top 10. Yeah, I just and I get it, or maybe at 10. Now, yes, he won the Super Bowl, and you cannot take that away from him. You cannot. He's been in the Super Bowl 2 out of the last 3 years or something like that. He's also had I mean, you have to mention that he's had one of the deepest teams in the league.
Yeah,
I mean, and to add, not to mention, you add Saquon Barkley, who almost breaks the rushing record. I mean, I get it.
He can't help that. And you got to add to the story, he beat probably one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, and his story isn't even written.
What are you talking about, Mahomes? Well, let me ask you a question. So he didn't beat Patrick Mahomes. He beat the Kansas City Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes didn't play not one down on defense or whatever. So I get that. I hear everything you're saying. Eli Manning beat Tom Brady twice.
Yeah.
No, Eli Manning was never top 10.
No,
ever.
But hear me out though. Those two victories propelled Eli Manning into conversations. Now he may not have been
conversations about what?
Relevance. Like if you take those two Super Bowl wins away from Eli Manning, you have a different argument. But the fact that he was able to beat the Patriots twice, some people consider him a Hall of Famer. And I think that those two victories put him into that conversation. I mean, that's going to help Jalen Hurts. I mean, and if he, God forbid, if he wins another Super Bowl, if he wins a couple more Super Bowls, and regardless if he ends up playing, throwing for 2,900 yards or whatever, it's going to keep him in that conversation.
So right now, you know what he is? You know who he is? Terry Bradshaw.
I was thinking the same thing. Terry Bradshaw always won ugly, but he got it done.
I'm gonna post this real quick because I want to answer this, and I want to answer this. No, the Kansas City Chiefs were not deep. They're not. They weren't a deep team. The Kansas City Chiefs were not. Their receiving core was damn near terrible, right?
This is a good question.
I mean, the story is not told yet. I would say yes. I'll post it. Yes, he's better than Eli. I don't think Eli was ever considered in all the years Eli Manning played. He was never considered a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. And I'm willing to argue that he was never he led led the league in interceptions way too many times to be considered a top 10 quarterback. And so
but a lot of people felt like his teams weren't that good, and he was overcompensating for them, and that's why he was throwing those interceptions.
Whose team wasn't that good?
The
The Giants during Eli's the Giants during Eli's years had
they had talent.
They had the best.
I didn't say they didn't have talent.
Yeah, he had Plexico Burris. He had Jeremy Shockey. He had Brandon Jacobs. He had Mario Manningham. He had like they may not be all be of. Didn't he have Victor Cruz? They may not be all like all pro, but that was a team, right? Like
I didn't say he didn't have good players, but if you go back and look, I don't know how many times they went over 10 wins.
Then maybe they were underachieving.
I believe they were 9-7, 8-8, like teams that he used to quarterback. Which I mean, you could say, okay, yeah, he had all this talent on those teams, but it didn't necessarily always equate to 9-7 is a successful team. I mean, you're above 500.
I mean, they won a Super Bowl. They won the Super Bowl at 9-7.
Yeah, they won a Super Bowl, but that team went on the run, rallying behind him.
Well, those are the only times he got playoff wins. The 8 wins that he got winning those 2 Super Bowls was it. So he only had 2 successful playoff runs. Now I get it. Some gonna say, well, he got 2 Super Bowl rings, and if you know, but
how crazy that sounds, right? He basically backed his way into the playoffs. Both times they won a Super Bowl. The other seasons, they weren't good enough to win. So that's where my argument is going is, yeah, those teams were bottom tier playoff teams that he happened to have magical runs. And carry those teams. And so I think the counter to it, if you look at that, you look at how many games he had to throw those teams into, and that caused a lot of interceptions. I think most Giants fans appreciated that he was going to take a risk. He was going to try to win the game. He didn't care at all costs, and they were okay living with that because they understood that team wasn't exactly the teams that he played on wasn't exactly the greatest teams. They had players. I mean, they had a defensive line that was memorable. They had a very good receiving core. See somebody put Ahmad Bradshaw. I mean, he played. I mean, he's a good change of pace back. Was he there? He was there with Brandon Jacobs, right?
Yeah.
It was. Yeah, so they had Brandon Jacobs was a above average back, would you say, or you say he was average back? Or you say
I just say he was good. He was all right. He was okay. So let's to get back to that. Right now, I would say Jalen Hurts. If I had to choose between Jalen Hurts and Eli Manning, I'm taking Jalen Hurts. Now, Eli is such a good. He's a Manning first and foremost. So he's football royalty, right? So that's the first thing. I mean, they put Arch at the number 1 pick 4 years ago when he was in high school. They said they had him at, so he's royalty. So I get that. With that being said, there were some better quarterbacks that may not have been as successful, you know. And you said Jalen Hurts was the most disrespected quarterback, and I'm not even gonna go to my guy, but nah, Jalen Hurts is not the most disrespected quarterback. Honestly, if you want to be real, the real most disrespected quarterback in the league is Lamar Jackson. And honestly, I don't think it's close. I think Dak might be a close second, then Jalen Hurts. But Jalen Hurts not having him in the top 10, I don't think is really that disrespectful. You know,
I'll tell you why I slightly disagree with that. So Lamar Jackson does not get the credit that he deserves. I agree there, right?
mm-hmm.
But I think most people at least acknowledge Lamar Jackson's greatness. Every time I hear people talk about Jalen Hurts, they'll tell you why he's not good. Like most people would just say, yeah, he won that Super Bowl, but, or yeah, he was able
You
to
talking
get
about
that
who?
done with Jalen
With
Hurts.
Jalen Hurts?
Yeah, I think most people when he's brought into the conversation, it's like, yeah, but yeah. You know, it's one of those things to where people are always a little reluctant to give him his credit. It's like for him, what else does he have to prove to be considered a top 10 quarterback? And I mean, the goalposts, it's a wide range. It's a long goalpost when you look at like, okay, he's got to win another Super Bowl. Maybe he's got to pass for 4,000 yards. He's got to have a passer rate of X, Y, and Z. The Eagles have to go back to back. Like,
Can I say something?
I don't know if yeah, go ahead.
So I'm not opposed to people putting Jalen Hurts in the top 10. Right? I'm not opposed to people putting them to putting them in the top 10. But I also understand why people may have them outside of the top 10, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it depends what the criteria is. Like, so I think most people use the eye test, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they'll say, okay, I've got Burrow, I've got Lamar, I've got Justin Herbert, I got like all these guys, I got Josh Allen, I got Patrick Mahomes, and you know they'll run off all the names of the guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then when you really look at football resume so far, yeah, maybe he didn't throw for the numbers that Joe Burrow threw for, but his teams have been able to accomplish more. And I mean, really, honestly, shout out to him for having a good GM with Howie Roseman.
Probably the best in the game.
Yeah, I mean, he recognized when he drafted him what he needed to be successful, put everything around him to be successful, and it's panned out. I mean, that's not his fault.
I totally agree with that. I don't have an issue with that as well. I think that it's do I have him in the top 5? No, but no. So when I had a conversation with a colleague last week on Friday, and we were talking about the top 10 quarterbacks in the league, that who we thought was top 10 in the league, and so my biggest thing was I felt like I had him in the top 10. I think I had him at like 7 or 8. I forget. I had him at 7 or 8. I don't know why everybody has this affinity for Matthew Stafford. I even saw somebody put Matthew Stafford ahead of Lamar Jackson. I stopped listening at that point. But I think that matter of fact, before we go any further, let's name our top 10. You want to do that?
Yeah, I'm gonna. Curtis has brought out some. I'll put Jaden Daniels in my top 10 because I named 5. And put
Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels might be at 10. I don't care what nobody say. I will have Jalen Hurts over Jaden Daniels.
Okay. So real quick, Mahomes, Jackson, Allen, Burrow, Hurts, Purdy, Daniels, Stroud, Herbert, Dak.
Was that 10?
Yeah, that was 10.
No Baker Mayfield?
No.
You got Purdy in there. Dak didn't finish the season last year.
Yeah, but I'll put him in my top 10. I'll put him in my
Okay.
top 10.
All right. I'm just giving you just what people would say.
No, so that wasn't in order, though. Somebody said all of them in front of Dak is crazy. I just named 10.
Oh.
I just
okay.
named my 10. I just named my 10.
So going into this year, listen, I think it's hard putting the quarterback over Mahomes. It is difficult. But if there's a year where I would have to put a quarterback ahead of Mahomes, it would be this one. And I got to put Lamar Jackson at 1. I think that, first of all, I think he got robbed last year. If I'm not mistaken, it may have been one other time, but for the most part, there's never been a first team all-pro guy not win MVP. So I actually have, but because I just can't. So I got Mahomes at 1, Lamar at 2, Burrow at 3, Josh Allen at 4. At 5, it gets a little sticky, right? At 5, I'll put Jalen Hurts at 5. I'll put Jalen Hurts at 5. At 6, I would go Baker. At 7, I would go Dak. At 8, I would go Stafford. At 9, I guess I would go CJ Stroud. He was a little down last year. I'll switch it. Nope, I'll keep CJ Stroud and I'll put Jaden Daniels at 10.
The only differences that we had was Baker
and Purdy
and Stafford, and I had Purdy. Who else do I have that you didn't have? I think I put Justin Herbert.
Justin Herbert, yeah, yeah. Hey, and I know Kurt said he wants attention, so I'm gonna give him a little bit of attention. Jaden Daniels was the quarterback of the Washington Commanders that lost to a sorry Cowboys team. There was no reason that they should have lost that game. We were at that game, and they lost to Cooper Rush. So he ended up losing to a Cowboys team that were down to their what's his name? Just got back, but they were down to their 3rd, 4th, and 5th corners. So and I'm not going to. I mean, Jaden Daniels went to the NFC Championship as a rookie, but got his brains kicked.
He's nice.
But it's year 2, and I know people. So there's some people that want to defend him so much and say, "Oh, he ain't going." Listen, that sophomore slump is real. That is real. I mean, they got tape. Wait, hold on. Wait, what's happening? Oh, so no, when I brought up Jaden Daniels, I said he lost to a Cowboys team that was down to their 3rd, 4th, and 5th corners. I know what I said. I know what I said. I was just saying Cooper Rush, Dak didn't play that game. So now I will say this: playing against another elite quarterback, it more times than not makes an elite guy or a guy that has step their game up. So if Lamar Jackson is playing the Kansas City Chiefs, you would expect him to step his game up just how you would expect Patrick Mahomes to step their game up, because they're playing against another. They know that there's another elite quarterback on that other end of the field, and more than likely they're going to be putting up points or doing something to their defense that they're gonna have to do more, right? So
Right.
I would keep that there, and so yes, playing against another quarterback, you sometimes just have to be special. If 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 you playing if you're playing the Kansas City Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes is going to be there. So in your head going into the fourth quarter that this lead is probably not going to be safe. We gotta put our foot in what, or they're gonna have a way of coming back. And in the Super Bowl they got beat. They got beat. They got beat on in the Super Bowl. It wasn't, and like I said earlier, that Kansas City Chiefs team that we saw last year, was honestly they were good because of Patrick Mahomes. That was one of those instances where if you take Patrick Mahomes off that Chiefs team, they're probably drafting in the top 5, top 10. Would you agree?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I think he definitely. It was. We knew all season that wasn't the best version of the Chiefs. It was something about that team, but hey, they got to the Super Bowl. The Eagles figured out how.
Yeah. No, I'm saying they still got to the Super Bowl. They still won those games.
Crazy.
But to me, I feel like it was because of the quarterback. It was because of the quarterback. That Patrick Mahomes had to be special last year because they didn't have, their best receiver was a rookie. Then you had Travis Kelce, he's a tight end, but he's getting older. So I don't know, but yeah, this is my thing in regards to what we're talking about. We're debating. We're not taking personal jabs at Jaden Daniels or Jalen Hurts or Lamar Jackson. It's about what they bring to the game, and I think that's when we have conversations like that, people get sidetracked, right? They get sidetracked and don't want to talk about the game and talk about that person and things like that. So, yeah. So, is Jalen Hurts a top 10 quarterback? I think he's a top 10 quarterback. I'm not gonna. I would still put him in the top 10. I don't. He was a Super Bowl MVP. It's not like he was. What's the old boy for Baltimore? That Trent Dilfer. It's not like he was Trent Dilfer in the Super Bowl.
No. Of course not.
I mean, he outplayed Patrick Mahomes in 2 Super Bowls. I think that the only thing the first time he had the fumble it was a super scoop and score, but last year, I mean, it wasn't even close. So yeah. So I don't know. Real quick, the WNBA had their All-Star game, and the WNBA is going through a contract thing, right? And I don't know where you stand on this. I think that the players should get paid more, right? I think that people could tell me people aren't watching the games. People are clearly watching the games. When you got a new team come in the league and they have a 500 million valuation, clearly there's something there, right? They got new TV money, right? I forget how much because it was combined with the NBA as well, but they got new TV money, so I think they have to find a way to get this collective bargaining thing, because the worst thing that could happen for the WNBA right now is for them to either get locked out or go on strike or whatever.
Yeah, no, I agree. They should be paid more. And you're right. The popularity of the WNBA is skyrocketing. You even hear it when you start if you listen to a lot of sports like we do, watch a lot of ESPN, watch a lot of Fox Sports, slowly but surely they're having more and more and more conversations. And Angel Reese, just with what she's doing, they sort of are doing like a Magic versus Bird thing where her and
Mhm.
Caitlin Clark. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's kind of like you're starting to see people kind of pick their sides. Why is Angel Reese on the cover of was she on
2K.
NBA 2K?
2K. Yeah.
That should be Caitlin Clark, and it's just all this sort of thing. And Angel Reese, she's having a phenomenal season as
Yeah.
well. I mean,
She's
like
balling.
she's not exactly just sitting back. So you're starting to see them develop these storylines with these women, which I think is going to drive more fans to watch, which is going to create more money for them because now people are starting to get interested. I don't ever want to make it a black or white thing, but everybody's like, dang, you disrespect Angel Reese. You see people like that, and
Mhm.
people start to decide, and that stuff draws everybody in.
And then you have situations like RG3, who Shaq said, "You say one more thing, punch you in your effing face." But like you said, so Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark could be the Magic and the Bird. Is Juju the Jordan? Does Juju come in and be the Jordan of the WNBA?
Possibly.
Because
I
I
mean,
tell you what,
so look, since the inception of the WNBA, and I probably shouldn't say this, but I mean, early on, it had its stars like the Cheryl Swoops and the
Mhm.
Cynthia Coopers and the Lisa Leslie, Rebecca Lobo, all those stars. Somewhere in between, I'm not going to say I lost interest, but if you ask me, I could probably name each year maybe 5 WNBA players.
Mhm.
And that's only because like the women's bracket is starting to heat up, and they always have a couple players that they hype.
Mhm.
It's becoming to the point to where I'm pretty sure now you could probably name rosters of players because I know you're an avid watcher, or you could probably tell me, hey, she went to this college and she's
Yeah.
good, and people are starting to follow them like the men's game. I'm
Right.
not quite there yet, but I still tune into the scores, tune in to some of the teams like Minnesota. The nice run that they're on, and
Mhm.
they've got their winning streak at home. So I'm starting to get more engaged in it. I see a lot more people are starting to do the same thing.
No, absolutely. And I mean, you got to start somewhere. Like
Right.
you know, it. I was watching something, and it was like it took the NBA. I think they said it took the NBA 25 years until they made a profit, and then it took them I think another 5 or 10 years before they made profits yearly. Like now they now it's all profit in the NBA, but it took the WNBA, if I'm not mistaken, is in year 28. So I mean, and I think they were supposedly 50 million in the whole, not and that's I guess 50 million in losses, right? They just signed it. They just got a $200 million TV deal or whatever. So well, now next year they're gonna be positive 150. So if that's the case, so nonetheless, I think that the WNBA is growing. Uh, um, and now you're starting to see more ladies get drafted from overseas as well. So I mean, we gonna see. They adding teams. Like if the WNBA is not doing well, they're not just gonna add teams and still not be doing well. So they're clearly doing something right. You know, so
I
it's
think
it's
to your point, you got more talent, right? You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like before, it may have had 8 teams, 12 teams. I forget how many. It might have been 8 teams when they started out, but you're
Mhm.
starting to see you're starting to see women's basketball. Like it's always had talent, but like you look on the teams and maybe they have like 6 to 8 players that were pretty good. You know, then you have some players that they played, but they was okay. But you're starting to see like some of these women, they could just go. They could flat out. I mean, you look like you look at Caitlin Clark, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I always think about this. She had a shooting contest with Steph Curry and took him to the wire, right? And I get it was an all-star break activity, but how many guys in the NBA could shoot toe-to-toe with Steph Curry?
In the NBA?
In the NBA.
Yeah, nah. It ain't a lot.
It ain't a lot. It ain't a lot. I'm sure there are some guys that maybe they don't. I don't know, but
I mean, you got like yeah. I think Dame and
Clay.
Clay. I think what's his name with the beard?
Harden.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's some other guys that are straight up shooters, but it's only one Steph.
Right. But for her to like be able to like she stood toe to toe with him, and you know Steph ended up winning that, but you know it wasn't like she didn't make him sweat a little bit, you know. And when you got that type of talent, I'll say Kyrie too. I think Kyrie can shoot too.
Yeah, I guess. He ain't no Steph when it comes to shooting. Ain't nobody like Steph. So
ain't
nobody. Nobody. But yeah, man. So I think we're gonna get up out of here. Yeah. So you got anything else?
Nah, man. It was good talk, good convo. Appreciate everybody tuning in. It was a little bit later tonight, but definitely good convo, man. Yeah. So and we could keep the Jalen Hurts a top 10 conversation going if we're gonna keep it, you know, based on football, you know. Yeah. But I think that it's an interesting topic. But nonetheless, go to YouTube and subscribe, please. We need y'all to subscribe to YouTube, please. Thank you very, 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 very much. But this is Off the Record. I'm Anthony Adebayo. It's Scotty B.
We out of here.
Anthony Adebayo.
With you there, but if you're a coach, do you take that chance?
Yes. You can reach us at the Off the Record Show at gmail.com. Anthony Adebayo. And the most accurate sports coverage. Scotty B's Fantasy 5.
We're different from any other sport.
His sophomore year. Comes back and says, you know what?
And your boy, Scotty B.